Isn't it weird that this is a mini-series with Jaden Martell about a kid named Ben getting stabbed? It was originally a book, and then the first adaptation was a mini-series. Isn't that a bit weird? Defending Jacob is a new miniseries from Apple TV Plus, and as previously mentioned, it is based off a 2012 book by the same name, and it tells the story of a murdered boy. Chris Evans plays an assistant district attorney, and he is first put on this case of this murdered boy, except his son, played by Jaden Martel, is the suspected murderer. And the show deals with all the family drama and just the terrible situation this family is in. I was not planning on watching this show. I got bored yesterday and went, why not? And put the show on, and I ended up watching 7 episodes, and then I watched the 8th episode today. And I was hooked instantly with this show. My favorite aspect of the show was the performances. Chris Evans gives the best performance I've ever seen from him, and I loved him in Knives Out. I loved him, of course, as Captain America. But the way he shows his character slowly breaking down over time is just amazing. All scenes where he raises his voice, they don't feel like they're placed in there just to have a scene where this character gets angry. It feels warranted and important to the story. And I found his performance mesmerizing. Michelle Dockery plays his wife, and she is also fantastic here, especially in these later episodes. I'll talk about her a bit later, but she was fantastic here, almost equally as great as Chris Evans, and her dynamic with him was one of my favorite aspects of the show, and her performance was just great. Now, Jaden Martel, of course I love him in it. It is one of my favorite horror films of all time. It was one of my favorite films from 2017. I love that film and I love him in it. But his performance here might actually be better. He has such a difficult role here because we don't know if he killed this boy or not. And the way that he made me, at least, change my mind a ton throughout the show of whether he killed him or not was just amazing. There's also a surprise actor here, and that just made me sit back and I was, ow. And I was so excited to see this actor here, and I'll talk about him after my grade, because after my grade I'm going to go into spoilers because there's a few things I want to talk about there. So if you haven't seen the show, that's a warning after my grade. I'll give you like 10 seconds to click off. Then I will go into spoilers. I only really have 2 problems with the show, and I barely even counted the second one. But my first one is, it has to do with the ending, but like not even the last episode, mostly the last 15 to 20 minutes of that episode. And I'll talk about that after the grade more, but I really, really liked that final episode for the most part. I loved its attention to detail, stuff like that. It's just, it doesn't give enough answers in those final 20 minutes, let's say. And I love a lot of movies which leave things open for you to interpret on your own. It's just here they felt like unanswered questions that we should have got but didn't. Again, I'll elaborate on that later. And my other very, very small issue here is that in the middle of this miniseries, a few of the middle episodes, you don't learn more about the case. It focuses on the family drama more, and that was amazing. The stuff with the family drama is amazing, except there are times where you're like, okay, can we get back to case? And I wish that maybe they made this 7 episodes, which I know sounds weird, but there are a few things in the middle there where I feel like they could have cut out. But that could also be because the first 2 episodes were so great. As I said, I was hooked instantly. I watched the first 7 episodes in a day. As I said, those weren't major issues. I love the show. You'll see by my grade especially. It's just, I feel like they could have fixed that a bit, but one of my other favorite aspects is the way it looks. The color palette and just the cinematography in general remind me a lot of a Fincher film, especially Zodiac. Now, if you haven't seen Zodiac, it's one of my favorite films. I highly recommend that film too. But it's a lot more dull. Like, there's not big, bright, flashy colors, and it really helps set the tone of this. And I love the atmosphere that was created throughout the entire thing. I thought the writing in the show was brilliant. A lot of the episodes had twists near the end that these shows, they make you invested enough and they hook you to want to watch the next episode. Now, I think they dropped the first 3 at once, and then they came week after week, and I'm glad I waited to watch it so I could see it all in the span of under 24 hours or something. But the dialogue is also something great here because when dealing with teen drama, which is what some of this is, a lot of that can feel fake. They write it so that teen actors can say it, and a lot of the time that comes off stupid. And I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but Jaden Martel was amazing here, and I have to give him major props because he's a young actor, and he's up against Chris Evans and Michelle Dockery, and he's just as good as them. Something else worth mentioning is that this is a mini-series, not season 1 of a show. I feel like if this was picked up by Netflix, if Netflix created it, there would have been a whole lot of unnecessary seasons after this. I mean, I don't think they've really ever done that before with a show that's kind of like 12 examples. Who? That's fucking stupid. Yeah, like 13 Reasons Why, which had a great first season. I couldn't even watch season 2, it just sucked that much. I feel like they would have unnecessarily pushed it out and stretched it out to like 4 seasons or whatever they're on. And I'm glad that they finished the story here because besides that ending here, there is nothing else you could really add to this besides more clear answers. But there is no chance of making a second season here, and that's what I really like. They made it clear this is a mini-series, not season 1 of a show. I loved Defending Jacob. It is quite possibly my favorite new release I've watched in 2020 so far, and I suggest it to anyone who loves stuff like this. It features some amazing performances, and I feel like over time more and more people will discover this and more people will love it. I'm going to give Defending Jacob an A. Alright, now we're going to go into spoilers, so if you have not seen the miniseries, click off. I highly recommend it. As I said, I watched it on soaptoday.is. All episodes there and quite good quality. That's where I watched it. I don't have an Apple TV Plus subscription. But yeah, we're going to talk about some spoilers. So the one, as I mentioned, a surprise actor, that of J.K. Simmons. Now my reaction to him here was almost the exact same one that I had to him in, spoilers, Spider-Man Far From Home, that end credit scene where he comes back as J. Jonah Jameson. I was just like, wait, whoa. Like I was super surprised, and he was amazing here. He plays Chris Evans' father. You would have known that if you watched the show. But he taught a lot of, well, all of his scenes are inside a jail because he did bad things in the past. And in the first few episodes, we kind of see Chris Evans, like he has these weird like flashbacks to like this knife and like somebody's forearm, and then we learn about him, and I thought that was really well done. I was gonna say heartbreaking, but not really. But I love J.K. Simmons. He is fantastic, phenomenal actor. Like his performance in Whiplash, one of the greatest I've ever seen. But he is so good here, and the fact that he plays his character inside of the jail the entire time, yet you still feel for this character when he's talking about his grandson, even though he's such a bad person. I thought that was really well done. Now, gets to some weird stuff. There's some reveals with this girl in the 5th episode, which it made sense. It kind of made me feel a bit weird, but it made sense why I was in there. And then there's this weird stories that they write, that Jacob writes on this weird website, and I loved how they always pulled you to one side where you're like, oh no, he didn't do it because of this. Oh no, he wrote a story. But then this guy admits to doing it. But this guy was actually killed by someone J.K. Simmons hired. And that made for some great suspense here. But in those final 20 minutes or something, that final episode, after they go on vacation, as I said, I really like the attention to detail. Jaden Martell's character, Jacob, I don't know why I keep saying his name, goes to a party with this new girl. He was wearing a white shirt, but he comes back and he forgot his white shirt at the beach. Could it be because there's blood in it, because he might have killed this girl who disappeared? And then we learn no, she was taken by these people, drugged up, whatever. But still, I love that attention to detail because he says that, and then you're reminded of it like 10, 15 minutes later. But that was the one thing that was always on my mind. I was like, did he do it again? And that's what I really loved about this show. But then it gets to the part where they go back and Michelle Dockery's acting strange, And then she goes for a drive on a rainy day with her son Jacob, I think to get his haircut, they mention. And then all of a sudden, she's going really fast, and I love the way that they edited the scene because you have Chris Evans, father, trying to call her, and then she keeps declining it, and then it's like cutting between them, cutting between the wheels, the windshield wipers, and then she swerves, crashes right into the side, and you think that they're dead. And if they were left off as dead, I feel like that would have been better because it turns out 5-10 minutes later, they're not dead. They're in the hospital, and I feel like I don't think she remembered a lot yet. The scene where the quick scene where we see what happened there, it looks like she's dead. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then it like goes to that, and then Chris Evans goes and sits inside his son Jacob's room on his bed, and then we get this shot, and then it just ends. So I was like, so what happened to his wife and his son, and is he being charged for murder or not? And it just felt like there was unanswered questions. I was just like, they were talking about moving. Did they end up moving? Did they end up living? It's just stuff like that. It didn't feel answered. And since this is a miniseries, I'm glad it is. I'm glad there's not going to be a season 2. I wish they just wrapped up that final 20 minutes better. I really like that final episode. Here's my episode's ranking. It's just, I wish that they had a more, I wish they had more clear answers in that ending. But besides that, I know I kind of talked about that in depth. That really didn't bother me because the rest of the show is such high quality. Like, I love even the acting from some of the other teenagers. Really good. Chris Evans deserves to win as many awards as he can for this performance. It's probably the best I've seen this year. It was amazing. And now I have to go eat dinner, but I as I said, I love this show. I gave it an A. I really only had those 2 problems with it, and I was tempted to give it an A+, except I did have some problems with that last 20 minutes or whatever. But if you've seen Defending Jacob, tell me what you thought in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna be hopefully reviving my podcast with Carter Anderson. We haven't done it for like, I think over a month. We just kind of forgot about it. So there should be an episode of that hopefully coming soon. We might just move strictly to YouTube because I think you have to pay for actual like getting it on Apple Music, Spotify, blah, 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 whatever. I'll talk about that in that episode. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.